Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Let's Talk Football here on Let's Talk Sport. It's been another fantastic week of football action and lots of headlines going through around the world of football. And I've got two special guests joining me again this week for this week's podcast. Rejoining us all the way from Switzerland again is Seb True, who was not neutral last week on the podcast, and we hope we bring some more no neutralness this week. I know that's not very good English, but you know what I mean. And then we've got another special guest. Look at the guy, that guy over there. Where is he? Where is he? Oh, there he is. There he is. Jamie Davies has joined us again this weekend. Jamie will be sprinkling the stream with lots of football goodness as well, won't you, Jamie? How are we tonight, fellas? And thank you for joining us. So we're going to start off with the big news coming out. We had to change the schedule actually on Friday night because Mary Earps decided to come out with some absolutely controversial comments about Hannah Hampton. Apparently, there's no bad blood, she's saying, but I'm not sure whether that is 100% true. I don't know, fellas, if you've seen the quote fully, but she's come out in her book because she has got a book coming out. I wonder whether that's why she said it. Not
Hmm.
cynical at all. All in is her book, and that's coming out this week. And she basically has gone on the rampage and had a massive go at Hannah Hampton, questioning her professionalism and Serena Wiegmann's choices to pick her as number one goalkeeper ahead of the Euros. And she said that's what led to her retirement from England duty. So yeah, don't know which one of you guys wants to start off on this one, but what's your takes on the situation? And do you think that Earps is in the right, or do you think she's in the wrong?
I'm going to instantly jump in and just sit on the fence and say how gracious and how well timed this is. At
Mm.
least Mary Earps didn't come out with the comments to distract the Lionesses during the tournament list this summer. So how very unselfish of her. So I think it's great from Earps to. No, I'm just joking, of course. Um, but it's quite clear that there's some bad blood. She's saying that there's no bad blood, then proceeds to try and stab someone in the back. So yeah, Mary Earps was great for England, and this just reeks of attention seeking.
Mm.
There's not much more to say. The comments intentionally are trying to say, I don't mean any bad by what I'm saying, but she does. It's like it's not because you put no offense on the end of a sentence that the sentence is not offensive. She's questioned Hannah's professionalism and everything that she does, and basically says that she shouldn't have been dropped. She's not said those words, but she's come as close as possible to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always think there's two ways well, I'm not I'm not old enough to retire in anything yet, but I always think if you're gonna retire, do it quietly or do it as Mary Earps has, which is if you've got something that you want to get off your shoulder, then go ahead. But if you want to ruin your legacy or reputation, then that's down to you and whatever you come out with. What's really annoyed me about all this is that what I don't get with Mary Earps is, and you know what, I don't care about what Earps has said. I actually feel sorry for Hannah Hampton. To have a great summer as number one for England, huge summer for her, by the way. I think there was a lot of nerves for her, thinking, the last two major tournaments, Mary Earps was the final of the World Cup and did that heroic save from that penalty, and also won the Euros for England back at Wembley in 2022. So for Hannah Hampton to take on Mary Earps' role, that's huge pressure. But to have this now said after winning the Euros and stepping up when needed under Serena Wiegmann, I can't believe what Earps is doing. It just feels like jealousy. It sounds like a child being really unhappy about something, throw toys out the pram and get it out there. And I don't understand why she's done this. It's very clear that Serena Wiegmann wanted Earps to carry on, but just not as the number one goalkeeper. But sadly, Earps looked at it the other way and didn't play as a member of the team, I guess. So it's a tricky one. But I'm not sure what others are all thinking about this. But in terms of the way I see it as a Man United fan, as of course she's played for Man United, I'm quite bit disappointed with what she's come out and said.
I'm just a bit shocked. Well, firstly, we know that Wigman can split opinion. She's not the easiest person in the world, and we all know that. So in the beginning, I could have been somewhat sympathetic, but even today, now Earps is basically saying that the media has distorted her words and distorted everything that she said. She has said that Hannah Hampton has been rewarded for bad behavior. It's a quote. It's not distorting her words at all. And I'm just trying to go through a few more of the quotes that Earps actually has cited, or not cited, said. It affected us all in a domino effect to an extent that was extremely unusual in a successful elite team environment, blah, blah. It also completely contradicted my professional values, which included preserving everything I had mentally and physically, and so on and so forth. So there's nothing been distorted. She is just basically criticizing Hannah Hampton because there must be some bad blood. So my take on this now is that she's bitter. There's no other way to interpret it. And she is ruining a legacy that she has. So it's just a shame.
Could it have been as well something in terms of, they say, a lot of things don't go out to the public, arguments behind closed doors maybe, but could this have just been something where Earps should have had a bit more respect towards Wiegman at least and just gone, I won't bring this out to anyone on my views on it and just keep it behind closed doors as well. I don't know. But again, money's money, in it. You got to put someone interested in the book.
Yeah, but I'm just curious as who is advising her because this could never come across as good. People had their issues with Earps as well, but the way it went down last summer was somewhat dignified. She stepped down, international retirement, so lead the way for Hannah Hampton to then be the hero for England. It was all dignified enough. Who's advised her to say this? Is it to sell a book? Because I don't know how much she's
probably
going to
her
sell.
agent,
Yeah, of course, but it's still, it doesn't work that easily. It's not always bad publicity is still good publicity.
Well, let's be honest. Do any of you that want to buy the book? I certainly don't.
Yeah, exactly. It's made me more wary of it. Maybe this is also just to distract her poor form of late for Paris. I don't know.
Yeah.
It definitely makes people look the other way.
She's definitely not getting game time at the moment for PSG, isn't it? And that's probably something that's quite bitter for her to take.
She's getting game time, but she's conceding a lot of goals. It's not looking good for her. I mean, obviously in a league with Lyon, but they conceded 4 against Wolfsburg the other day as well, where she made, I think, only 1 save. She's also not performing for Paris.
I think as well she was upset. I think she wasn't happy at Man United before she went to PSG in terms of she wasn't the only one. Obviously, Alicia Russo left United. And I think there was problems, a lot of politics going on upstairs at Man United at the time with the women's team, with the lack of funding and stuff. But even since Mary Earps has left United fans don't miss her. Was it Talise Joyce has been phenomenal as the #1 goalkeeper. Me and Joe even saw Talise Joyce when she literally first appeared for United in a League Cup game back at Tranmere's ground when Liverpool used to play there. And she would save a shot from close range, and we were both thinking, we were behind the goal when it happened. And I was thinking straight away, they found a replacement. This is United's replacement sorted. So I do feel like is Earps maybe looking back at her previous 2 roles and going, oh, I've been quite forgotten here.
Does that not really speak volumes about the person? Earps, a great goalkeeper in her own right, but if you're so easy to replace on a camaraderie level and also on an actual performance level, you've got to start asking questions, not only for Man United, but for England as well. It's, no issue replacing her. Doesn't she look at that and think, okay, once you can start thinking there were mitigating circumstances. Twice?
Yeah. I
question
think
yourself.
Well, like I said before, there's 2 ways you look at it. You either be proud of your career and have a quiet retirement and celebrate it, or you go down that route of saying stuff that might ruin your reputation and legacy, and that's what she's done for me. And I think it's a real shame.
Or maybe this is the start of dragging more people in the mud to actually get the attention and become a dislikable person so that she can be relevant after retirement. It might also be a tactic. I don't think it's a very wise one, but I'm not in the media for a reason.
And then probably this time next week we'll hear that ITV have announced it to be on I'm a Celeb to get me out of here.
Yeah, exactly. There
I
can be
wouldn't be
something like that.
surprised. Yeah, I just wouldn't be surprised.
I think that'd be in breach of contract with PSG at the moment. So
Yeah, probably. Well,
The interesting
they might.
thing,
Well, I don't know. PSG might go. Hey, you've seen too many goals. You need a break. Go to Australia for a bit.
the interesting thing, lads, is she's got an interview booked in on Tuesday with BBC where she's supposed to double down on the fact that the media have manipulated her wording, as Seb said. But the thing that I find really harsh, like you said at first, Jamie, that you feel sorry for Hannah Hampton, I do as well, because it's
Mm,
overshadowing how well she's done at the time. She was a young girl, and
mm.
I think okay, some people might say 21 you should be mature enough, but I think it's your first time around that environment. You know you're not number one and got the pressure, so you probably are going to be a little bit more,
A bit more chilled out.
relaxed.
Yeah,
Whereas this time
yeah.
around, she's 24, she's got the number one shirt, she knew the pressure, and then the fact that Hampton got the chance
Well,
to play for the Lionesses against Ireland in the qualifying, and that's what irked Earps and set into saying that it's unprofessional behaviour and bad behaviour that's getting rewarded. I just don't think it's very
well, I,
fair. And then
well, I.
she's
Yeah.
performed
Sorry, Joe.
consistently for club and country over the last 12 months and continues to do so. You could see at the awards evening for the Ballon d'Or when she won the Yashin Award, and I know it's turned into a bit of a meme, hasn't it? But Mary Earps
Yeah.
was set to present the trophy, and you could see the anger and disgust on Earp's face then. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but
I.
there's got to
Yeah.
be a lot of
I.
bitterness there, I think.
yeah, but that was just a bit short-sighted, wasn't it? Because we knew Hannah Hampton was going to get it, and
Yeah.
the award ceremony being in Paris, and they're like, let's get the English goalkeeper to give Hannah.
Yeah. She lives
But it
down the
was very
road.
short-sighted from the committee there to organise it like that.
Yeah. I just think though, at the end of the day, regardless of what Hampton was like when Mary Earps was number one, Serena Wiegmann's decision making has been justified from what happened last summer. Simple as that. In that final, she saved two penalties against Spain. In my opinion, I didn't expect England to win that final. I thought Spain would be a lot better that day, but no, England got through it and they won the tournament. But like I said, Earps had two ways of doing this, and she chose the wrong route. We all have in different industries where there might be someone you don't like that might take your role, but at the end of the day, if that person does just as a good job as yourself, or even better, sadly, that's just the way it is. People are replaceable.
Well, maybe Earps was hoping that Hannah Hampton wouldn't live up to expectations during the
Yeah,
tournament. That would have been the best situation for Earps. Unfortunately for
and then
her,
come
Hannah Hampton
back, and then come back.
maybe,
If
yeah. But
yeah,
now
yeah.
this is just the bridge is burnt. So
Mm.
well,
I
what
must
else to
admit,
do?
don't get me wrong, I must admit, a couple of years ago, I remember, I think it was a couple of seasons ago, Hannah Hampton got the goalkeeper role at Chelsea, which at the time, Chelsea had Ann-Katrin Berger, one of the best goalkeepers in the WSL, if not the world, and everyone was probably wondering, well, what's Emma Hayes doing here? Because they also had Fingy as their second goalkeeper. I forgot her name, the Swedish goalkeeper.
Musovic,
Musovic,
was
was
it?
it? That was
Mm.
it, Musovic. And Musovic had a great World Cup 2 years ago. So everyone was like, why have they brought in Hannah Hampton to be third goalkeeper? Surely Hampton won't stand for this if she's trying to progress. But then all of a sudden, Emma Hayes, out of nowhere, puts Hannah Hampton as first goalkeeper ahead of them two, and she's been first goalkeeper ever since. So despite her history or whatever it is that Mary Earps is saying, Hannah Hampton has been thrown so much at her and has proven everyone wrong, or whoever's been doubting her. She's been absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I think you're spot on that, how phenomenal she's been in. I'm going to put something to you as well, lads, that Mary Earps has supposed to have been again head of the China friendly later on this month. Was supposed to be a guest of honor at the game and have her career celebrated. Before these comments were made, she apparently has rejected that opportunity, and the FA were keen and England were keen to make an arrangement for that to be done at another game in future. Do you think
Weird.
that's it's gone now? Any chance that's
Yeah.
gone after these comments? Because surely.
Well,
It,
maybe against Albania in 2 weeks for the England's men's team. I don't know. I don't think. I think it's she's burnt that bridge now. It's a
Yeah.
no.
I think when you're still a active professional as well, to come up with these comments, as Seb just said, you're burning bridges. I'd understand if she retired and she came out with this. Fair enough. You're not going to be a goalkeeper again, but when there's still a chance. Why do that?
Yeah, she's not exactly right at the end either. You know, go
No, she's still got 3-4 years.
She's still
Yeah,
got years in her. Yeah, she still can make it back into the WSL. I don't know if she'd want to, but
yeah. As I say, it's a shame. It is. It's come out of nowhere, and
well,
I
it just
think
shows true colours of some people, doesn't it? So better for
exactly,
it.
absolutely.
My last question on this matter, obviously, I think we can all be in agreement. Not a question, sorry, more of a statement that Serena Wiegmann was vindicated with her choice in the end of putting Hampton as number one due to her performance throughout the tournament and especially in the final in the penalty shootout and even the
Yeah,
quarterfinals penalty shootout. Actually, to be fair,
yeah, no doubt. And I think
Mhm.
whether people like Wiegmann or not, what I've always loved about Wiegmann is she's been very brave with some of her decision making. She's been dealing with an England squad over the last 3-4 years that you could call it the golden generation. Well, it pretty much is with the choices she's been having to make, and the fact that she'd always say she doesn't have favourites. That we're a team sport at the end of the day, and she always stressed that. She'd always stress that it's not about individuals; it's about the whole team, and pretty much everything she's got right. And at the end of the day, she's taken us to 3 major tournaments. She's taken them all to the finals. What more could you ask for? I think Wiegmann's been terrific in every decision she's made, pretty much.
what about that? What do you think, Seb?
Not really much to add, unfortunately, as boring as an answer as that may be. Yeah, as I mentioned before, it completely backfired on Earps that Hannah Hampton performed so well in the Euros, and basically good riddance. But yes, I forgot what the question was. We were talking about Wiegmann, were we?
Oops, I did it
Earps.
again.
That's the one, Jamie. Yeah, I forgot what the question was, Joe. I'm completely sorry.
So I was just asking, do you think that she was vindicated?
Oh yeah. Of course she was. I mean, goes without saying. Even in that final against Spain, throughout the whole 90 minutes, I was watching that thinking there's no chance. And then even during the penalties, she saves the penalty from Bonmati. It's like, okay, yeah, this is a true England hero at the moment. So yeah, she's completely vindicated in what she's done and choosing Hannah Hampton over Earps.
And yet Bonmati still got player of the tournament, which to this day do not get.
I still don't disagree with that either. I do think she was one of the better ones in the knockout stages, at least.
I'd have had Russo, but anyway, that's something for another day.
Yeah.
Something for another day. But yeah, at the end of the day, Mary Earps not covering herself in glory. But teams that are going to go for glory, then we'll move on to the next topic, is the Scottish League Cup semi-finals. So on Saturday night, Motherwell, who were probably slight favourites going into this one, were battered 4-1 in the semi-final by St Mirren. We're going to briefly move on to the Sunday night one, the big one, which was the old firm between Celtic and Rangers in that competition, and we all know what happened, what we expected to happen, which was Celtic coming out on top, 3-1 winners against Rangers. A Rangers team that went down to 10 men, and well, there could have been more red cards in this one. I don't know if any of you two watched this game, but obviously
I've
in the
only
week.
managed to see a few things, a few controversial points, the red card, the penalty, and so on. But I can't say that I grabbed the game. That doesn't sound right.
But early on in the week, obviously, the game happened after Brendan Rodgers, who we'd spoke about on last week's episode briefly about how self-centered he is and how long had he got left. Well, literally 24 hours later, he handed in his notice and was out the door. And Martin O'Neill, it was like it was the year
Who'd have thought?
2005.
Yeah.
They come in with Sean Maloney as his number two. A couple of weeks after Rangers had appointed Danny Rowell as their
Yeah.
manager. So it was the battle between the two managers with Celtic coming out on top. So yeah, what's your thoughts on this one? Do you think Celtic are going to get the another piece of silverware in their cabinet yet again, or
Well, this is the thing. I mean, who's
Yeah.
going to be the manager come the final? I mean, we don't
Well,
know,
it
do
might
we?
be Martin O'Neill.
I'd love it. I hope it is.
I just want the whole thing to be lined up. Last time St. Mirren beat Celtic was when a certain Ange Postecoglou was manager. So I'm just praying for the
You're
the
praying for
football
that.
gods to align again, and we
He
get
is
an
the
Ange
favourite.
final with St. Mirren just going, yeah, F it, we're going for it. Bit more of a
He is
different,
favourite. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So, But no, it's supposed to be Martin O'Neill in the meantime. I don't know when the agreement was
He,
until the end of the season, I think. Is that right?
well, like he even Martin O'Neill's press conference when they unveiled him last week, he pretty much said, "I could be gone at the end of this week." So he doesn't know, does he? I don't think.
He was on Talksport just the morning before being announced, and he was
Oh,
saying
really?
that Hearts winning the league would be good for the Scottish League. Ten
And now he's
hours
going to end
later,
it.
10 hours later, he's Celtic manager or the interim manager, and I think he's got Sean Maloney as his assistant there as
Yeah,
well. So
just need
that'll
Henrik
be
Larsson in now.
interesting. Yeah, Sean Maloney is basically the Scottish Henrik Larsson. It's the same sort of thing. We obviously expect Celtic to do it. If Celtic don't win one single trophy this season, it'll be a disaster. So the Scottish League Cup, maybe they will win that. Maybe the Scottish, who knows? Maybe they
Yeah,
will come back and catch up with Hearts. It's quite likely. But
yeah,
yeah, you
especially
put them as favourites against St. Mirren. St. Mirren are still struggling a little bit in the league. I mean, it's not been, it's been just standard. What can I say?
can
You'd expect Celtic to win.
I watched bits of the game. I wasn't able to watch all of it, but Rangers are shit. Like I watched some of it and I just thought, is this Russell Martin or is this before him? I don't know. Like
The
it
effects
was
stay for a
so
while.
bad.
I mean, Will
Yeah.
Still can show us that Russell Martin is not easy to rub off.
No.
Once
But
Martin touches you,
yeah, you don't you
It's
don't become gold, you become lower than bronze, whatever that is. But it's but no, I do I
good one,
watched
Jamie.
thank you,
Oh,
thank
good
you.
one.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate the support.
yes.
But no, I watched bits of it and I just thought Rangers aren't great. This is just not a good team. James Tavernier being the man to score again. It's like, yeah, from the penalty spot. That's all he ever bloody does most of the time. Um,
Nah, I was a bit. So this caused a bit of controversy, the penalty call, and I
was
don't know
it
if
a
you had a chance
penalty?
to see it. I'm sorry, that's a penalty. I don't want
Yeah.
anyone telling me it's not a penalty. Everyone's saying
Is
he
this
has
the
his arm
handball
tucked.
one? Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he's diving
but he's
down, isn't
he's
he, with his
diving
chest
down.
out.
His elbow is sticking out, and he dives on
Yeah.
top of it. You can't tell me, oh, he's tucked in his hand. No, he's obstructing the ball from going in, and it's as intentional as it can be with trying to hide it on a little technicality of tucking your arm in. It's a penalty,
I
so I don't
think
want
though,
anyone to go on about it. And the many calls that the referee got. A few shockers in the game, but then the red card as well. I didn't get to see a replay of it, but that looked like a red card as well. So
yeah.
to
Yeah, it
me,
was a red.
main decisions were correct.
I think I will say though, that Celtic player might have been in the army at one point because it looked like a classic scenario of if a grenade is in the middle of you, like one of you has to jump in front of it. And I think he got used to that. So he probably thought, right, back in my army training, you jump on it. Oh shit, hit my hand.
Heroic from him, absolutely heroic. But yeah, it is that. It's he jumped onto it and his arm got in the way. I
Yeah.
don't care what anyone says. If you say that's not a penalty, you are just looking to disagree with referees to call them incompetent. That is it. That's
Yeah.
my big take on it. And that's the big problem with football nowadays, where we just want to find something incorrect to say referees are incompetent. And that's a big one. The calls that I saw, maybe someone can tell me some other ones in the game that he got wrong, can happen. But the two big ones, I'm sorry, you got those right.
I
I
think the
do
one that
find it funny. Oh, go on, Joe.
sorry, I think the one that he got wrong was Trusty. I think it was Trusty who kicked Jack Butland in the face when Jack Butland was on the ball. I think that's the only one he's
Yeah.
got maybe he's
Okay.
got wrong. That should have been a red card because it's the endangerment and the ball had long gone. Yeah, he had no chance of getting any. He's just gone in and just stood, on Butland's face. He got a yellow card. VAR checked it and apparently said that yellow card was the right call, but for me it's wrong because it's endangering the opponent, especially when he's gone, in for his head. But I think other than that, I think the red card for Rangers was spot on as well. And I tell you what, Callum McGregor, Celtic's captain, is the man for the bigger occasion.
What a goal
Because
that was.
absolutely stunning. I know Buckland didn't cover himself in glory, but he was. I think he had his sights blocked a little bit by
Yeah.
defenders. But it's power. It's the sheer power and swerve on the ball that beats him.
But I think we need to, I don't know, I get to a point where I watch so many games and it's always the co-commentator who's an ex-footballer of some team who like always says, "Oh, that shouldn't have gone in." And I'm just like, Could we just celebrate a goal? I like when someone scores. And it was a great goal. I mean, I know Butland could have kept it out, but a shot outside the box, we never see it anymore. We want more of them. And that goalkeeper, Jack Butland, probably went, "Holy shit, what do you do with these long range shots? I can't remember. It's been so long. All I do is tap the ball to my defender. I don't even kick it long anymore." But yeah, that's just my little rant right there.
That's more like anti-modern football rather than anything else.
Yes, it is.
No more shots outside the box anymore. People playing against Arsenal, take note. Just get a shot in. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Diallo did it against Forest the other night. It was great.
Yep, that little volley on the edge of the box. Little volley. I kind of underplayed that, didn't I?
Yeah. Any volley is should never be belittled anymore.
Sneaky little tiny powerless volley, yes.
No one saw it till it hit the net. But yeah, no, but to see Martin O'Neill there in his Adidas tracksuit and in his mid-70s, I absolutely love it. I'm here for it. But I don't know. I don't know what Martin O'Neill's going to do. I don't know how long he's going to be there, but I'm for it. I'm loving it.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what happens with Martin O'Neill because I've only heard comments of him lately saying all this nonsense about XG and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And him saying, you can guarantee if Pep's going in the change room at halftime saying we had this much XG. And it's like, Martin, I think you're a bit out of touch with the game. He is in his 70s and hasn't managed since, anyone remember?
It was at Aston Villa?
Sunderland.
No, Ireland. Ireland, was it?
Nah, he had a brief stint with Nottingham Forest in 2019.
With Roy Keane, I remember this. Yeah.
Brief. But then it was Ireland before then, the Republic of Ireland, may I say.
Yeah.
So, I'd like for him to just chill out a little bit and just enjoy retirement.
He's here to stay he's here to steady the ship. I think it's just to try and get certain things back to basics, I reckon.
If you were on a ship and someone got out the 71-year-old captain and said, "I'm here to steady the ship," what would you think, Jamie? Come on.
I'd like to think, well, he must have had a good pension.
And then then he gets to the steering. He's like, "Oh my god, is this electrical steering now?" He's like, "Dude, you're supposed to steady this thing." Like, I'm exaggerating a little bit for the metaphor, but I still think it stands a little.
Well, at least I can.
At least I could go up to him and say to him, at least you watch football when they shot outside the box. I miss those days, mate.
Redefining football. Sorry, Joe.
It's right. I was going to say, funny enough, you talk about how long he's going to be in the job for. Whilst you were discussing that, I managed to get up some odds on who could be the next Celtic manager. So Martin O'Neill is the current favourite, 5-2, but I just feel like that's
Martin O'Neill, really.
I just feel like that's because he's caretaker.
Yeah, but it's going to be it's going to be like the Igor Tudor situation, which we'll get onto afterwards, and I'll explain why. But yes, go for it, Joe.
The Tudor times.
Kieran McKenna, 5-1, second favourite. Willie Leavitz, which I don't know. Ange Postecoglou, 13-2. Robbie Keane, the childhood, Liverpool, Tottenham, Wolves, Inter Milan.
Robbie Keane?
Villa, you forgot Villa.
Celtic, Villa, West Ham. I can't remember the other
I met him at a bar in Doha. He was a lovely man.
8-1. Lee Cardley, 8-1. And Kjetil Knutsen is 9-1. So there your 5 odds at the moment.
Not Michael Carrick.
No, Michael Carrick is not on there, but he was early on in the week high up the rankings for the next Celtic manager job.
Well, so, Neil Warnock will be up there somewhere.
Get him off the tractor. He needs to be back in management.
He did the job at Aberdeen a couple of years ago, didn't he?
Yeah,
exactly. For like 2 months, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But no, I think we all know who's going to get it, don't we? They're going to bring him back. Yeah. Mr. Ange, I reckon.
Well, if they're bringing back Martin O'Neill, they're going to bring back another. It's not like it's outside the realms of possibility. One was more unlikely than the other, so they're going for the least likely one later on in the season.
I mean, it's funny. We're living in a world of cinema now where legacy sequels are happening at the moment, and the fact that we're seeing
Martin O'Neill come back to sorry, not Martin O'Neill, sorry, Gary O'Neill. It's the O'Neill revival.
You just beat me. Just beat me to it. I was going to say it. Like Gary O'Neill back to Wolves. It's happening again.
Have you guys not heard?
Hilarious.
You guys not heard? He's pulled out.
Oh, what? He's
let's just say it. Let's just say at the time of recording we didn't know.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Joe
did. You could have told us, Joe. For God's sake.
We've embarrassed ourselves, Joe. Good God.
Goodness, it was only about an hour ago. To be fair, lads. So. I'll let you off.
Well, to be honest, who wants the Wolves job right now?
Probably
To be
Brendan
fair.
Rodgers.
No, yeah.
No, he wouldn't want it.
No,
No,
Brendan. I
no.
think Brendan wants to. I think he wants to go back to Swansea more than Wolves, probably. But anyway,
No, I think
Eh,
he'd probably he'd still think that he's good enough for the Liverpool job, but that's a different issue for another day.
he doesn't like football. He just found himself okay at something.
It's because he's not got wee Joe Allen. That's what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
The Welsh
the
fella.
downfall of Brendan Rodgers can be directly correlated to his lack of interaction with Joe Allen. It's all there.
It's all on the
100%.
script.
100%. And
What do
Colo
you what
Torre
What do you think, Stanners? Do you think Andrew will get the job?
looks most likely, doesn't it? Let's be
Yeah.
honest. He's he won the trophy at Spurs, didn't he? And then
Or Russell
got the
Martin?
sack. Oh, Big Russ. You can never rule out Big Russ, can you? But
I love it if that happened somehow. Oh, that'd be
but no,
funny.
again, he actually did good there. That would somewhat Rangers, wouldn't it? If he went to Celtic and
Well,
it's good. But
it'd be the biggest betrayal since Carling, because Carling sponsored.
with what's it called? I think Ange's the most likely when. Sorry, it's just said that I had a notification at the corner saying OBS was having trouble. So if anyone is watching, I do apologise if you've lost audio and footage, but we are back. Yeah, I think Ange's the most likely one. I think out of there, I can't really see anyone else. And he will want to get his reputation back quite quickly, and I think
Yeah,
Celtic's an easy
I
way to
think
do
so.
it after the whole Nottingham Forest debacle.
And
Yeah,
he's got nowhere to go. Let's be perfectly
yeah,
frank
yeah.
now. Andrew's got nowhere to go unless he's going to go back to Australia or.
South
I'm
Melbourne.
exaggerating a little bit. You know, there might be a Bodo glimpse that comes up if Knutson does take the Celtic job in the end. So you know, there's open up possibilities, but I just don't see it happening. So
No.
this is the safe bet for Ange. This is the one that cannot fail.
Hmm.
Can I just
And that's and
budge
then
in
and oh no. So what I was going to say. What were you going to say, Seb? Go on.
It's just a comment from Jamie on the live stream saying, "Reckon Gennaro Gattuso will get the Wolves job." Jamie, he's Italy boss, so you know, come on,
Yeah, yeah, that's good.
you know, just keep up.
Yeah, yeah. No one wants the Italy job. You can't make World Cups anymore.
Well, no,
Anyway.
he is the boss for Italy. You know, keep up, Jamie Burgoyne.
Yeah, no, but who wants an Italy job when you're not going to make the World Cup? So what's the point? You
Well,
know.
it's because of him that they're not making the World Cup. But
Well, yeah. But is this the problem though with Scottish football, where a Celtic job is like not in my eyes? I don't think when like Brendan Rodgers has gone back there, he's done a good spell again, I guess. But yeah, how can you have a bad spell? A bad spell at Celtic is still winning only one trophy less than previous season, I guess. It just feels like for someone like Ange, for someone like Brendan Rodgers, even Martin O'Neill, after so many years of no management, it's kind of like, is this job just easy? It's a nice wage, manage a big club in Scotland, you get a bit of you get a European trip under your belt maybe, and that's it. It just feels, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's just certain management roles in certain countries and leagues where I just feel like if you've been there before, it's just an easy job. But again, that's just
Yeah,
my thoughts.
I'm
I
wondering
feel
how big the money is because
Yeah, I'd
you
love to
know
know how
it's.
much the wages are.
I mean, I've just tried looking up, and Brendan Rodgers' salary at Celtic before leaving was £2.3 million a year. It's a bit similar to Vitor Pereira at Wolves, which is probably. I'm
Okay.
just going to take a guess. That's probably the team that pays the lowest wage in the
Yeah.
league, or amongst one of the lowest wages in the Premier League. So we can start having a bit of a conversation of the disparity in
Mm,
financial power.
mm.
Is it really that interesting? Yeah, it's a nice salary. None of us are turning down £2.3 million a year. Let it be said.
Depends. If I'm not allowed to watch Simpsons episodes, we'll have to reconsider.
Anyway, I'm just saying I don't. They've got to start showing ambition, and we talked about this last week about them potentially losing going further down in the rankings in the UEFA coefficient. And if they do that, Scotland, that is, there will be big issues in Scottish football.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And I think that's a real problem in terms of European football's huge for Scotland in terms of, the league trying to get somewhere. I mean, Rangers win the Europa League final, what, 3-4 years ago? Which maybe for some people that could have been a turning point, but that just hasn't happened. But I do feel as though when you look at the wages, as Seb has brilliantly pointed out, in terms of, it's nearly as low as a Wolves job right now. that says it all. Brendan Rodgers left Celtic for Leicester, let's not forget. And there was this big uproar from Celtic fans thinking, why would you leave Celtic for Leicester? Well, because, sorry, mate, a mid-table team in the Premier League can pay a better wage. And quite frankly, the opportunity's bigger.
Yeah.
I mean, I've just done a quick Google search and I've tried finding what Brendan Rodgers' salary was at Leicester.
Yeah.
And reportedly it was 8 million a year.
Oh, there you go.
So this is a different stage. You know, when Leicester hired him, they were trying to look up a little bit. You know, it's not the same as the relegated Leicester we see now, but still, exactly. Still,
yeah, but what a
that will
challenge,
lure you away. And yes, maybe
and he
it's
won the
bad
FA
to
Cup with him, didn't he? I think
it's
if I
not
can
a great.
remember rightly.
He did, yes.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
a great thing to compare to the might of the Premier League. You know, that's the biggest power financially in the world.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I think you're right in terms of the scale of the TV rights deal and all that between Scotland and England's very different. But yeah, I just fear for. I like Scottish football. You know, I care about pretty much every league in football. So I'd like to think that a Celtic job is not just a cushy, comfortable job. I'd like to wish that whoever gets it is a step up, but feels like it isn't.
The thing I find interesting is I can't remember who the player was, but there was an ex-player the other day who claimed that within a couple of years, if Celtic and Rangers were in the Premier League, they'd be competing in the top half and be pushing for the title. With all due respect to Celtic and Rangers, I think if they were in the English system, they'd be top end of League One, bottom end of Championship at most, with all due
Yeah,
respect to them.
yeah. I think revenue would be good for them because of how big their stadiums are and they've got loyal supporters. But yeah, I don't think they'd be very competitive.
And I don't want this argument of they're too big to go down. We've heard that 20 times in the last
Yeah.
15 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We're seeing, we're seeing traditionalist clubs struggle in the football league. So, that doesn't mean Celtic and Rangers would be shielded from that.
And love him or hate him, Craig Bellamy said that in his book as well. He was on loan at Celtic for 6 months. I think it was 2003,
I didn't
2004.
even, yeah, I didn't even know he played at Celtic.
Yeah, and he won a few trophies with them. And he even said that he thinks they'd be League One at best. I remember him saying
Yeah,
that in his book a few years back.
well, Joe Hart. I mean, like Joe Hart went there because his options were limited. Pep didn't want him at City. All of a sudden, with it overnight, his legacy at City had gone. He wasn't the number one England goalkeeper anymore. Where did he go? He went to Celtic again. Good
Well,
opportunity still, but
he went to Torino, West Ham, Burnley in between, and I think he went to Tottenham as well.
Yeah, he did, third
he
choice
did
goalkeeper.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. Good point.
So
But
he really dabbled his feet in the Premier League pool
Yeah,
before
but then-
realizing I'll be first choice at Celtic.
yeah, but then Kasper Schmeichel, as well from, was it Leicester straight? No, he went to France, didn't he? And then he went to Celtic, I think.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is, it's even goalkeepers that are getting on and stuff. It's just a. I mean, look at Jack Butland. Jack Butland sadly didn't hit the heights that some hoped for when he was at Stoke City, but this is where we are.
with Joe Hart, if you want to score past him, go low to his left because he after an injury he wasn't able to spring that way anymore. Just so you know.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so if you're ever in a charity match against Joe Hart, low to his left, you'll score.
Yeah, but then I'm going to have this
There you
problem of perspective. Like, my left is your right is my left. I've overthought this and I've lost the ball.
Pick a side. Yeah, pick a side.
Pick a side and go for
Just
it.
pick a
yeah,
side and
yeah.
go for it.
But let's move on to our final topic of the day. We've been talking about managers, and in the week, Igor Tudor. So the Tudor period come to an end with the old lady Juventus in the week. I know, terrible. And yeah, he had 24 matches in charge and managed 1.58 points per match. This is according to Transfermarkt. It wasn't a fantastic time for him there, and he has since been replaced on an interim basis by Luciano Spalletti. You guys are massive. I don't know if I'm overstating it, but big fans of Serie A football, aren't you? So, yeah, what's your take on the Tudor period at Juventus, and why did it get cut short so quickly?
It's let's first say that Juventus, for the past few years, don't tend to sack managers mid-season. They kind of went against the grain by doing that with Thiago Motta in March of this year. Replaced them with Tudor on a interim basis, And Tudor then this summer gets the job on a permanent basis. And now look where we are. In October it was that he got fired. So, 3 months into the season. Yeah, Tudor's a weird one, but this whole decline of Juventus can be traced back to since Allegri left Juventus. It's not
What he's doing at Milan.
And there are big problems with Juventus as well with how they're managed. You know, the Agnellis were, well, they were kind of disastrous for Juventus. And yes, I know Agnelli stepped down when there were these financial investigations along with Pavel Nedved, but they're hiring their own guys in place. You know, they don't have a sporting director at the moment. They put in Comoli in the summer as the general manager, and Comoli has success in the past for sure, but he also is typically the kind of guy who brings in players that managers do not want. And when I look at this Juventus team, I see players that the manager does not want. So Spalletti's there. Sorry?
Look at that front line. But yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, but I just don't see it with Openda. You know, the one thing that they want to do is get Vlahovic out the door. And when Vlahovic was playing well, he's keeping Tudor in a job this season. When he suddenly drops off a little bit, it's gone. Because we can't rely on the young players at Juventus at the moment. They are quite a young team with the likes of Yildiz in the squad. Even Jonathan David. I know he's not that young anymore, but he's still feels like he needs to. Yeah, but you still feel like he needs the pat on the back and the pat on the head. You're doing so well, Jonathan. And I don't know where Juventus go. It's like
it feels like it feels like with Juventus that they're recruiting players that the manager doesn't want. And it kind of gives me similar vibes as to how United has been run, where it just feels like no one's on the same page. And I think, sadly, I don't think any Juventus fan is sad about, is happy about Tudor going. I actually think all the Juventus fans are reading the situation and are looking at it thinking it's not Tudor's fault. It's the whole club. And I think, as Seb said, you know, Tudor was not a permanent manager when he got the job. Then come the summer, they actually didn't want Tudor, but they kept hold of him in case they couldn't find anyone else. And this is what's happened. And look what's happened. A couple of months into the season, it's not going great. I think they hadn't won a game in 9 matches, and I think they drew the last 5 under Tudor as well. So, you know, at that point, that's enough form to go, well, we got to do something. And the easy option was to sack the manager. Sadly, I'm intrigued to see how Spalletti gets on, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's gone come the end of the season or in a year's time, because I honestly aren't sure what he's going to do.
Well, Spalletti will fall out, but the problem with Juventus is they have no idea who's running the ship at the moment. So the fact that they don't even know, Spalletti doesn't even know who he's supposed to have this spat with. I really like Spalletti. I think Spalletti is amazing.
Didn't he look good in a Juventus suit the other day? He
looks
beautiful.
Good in most suits. He's just good. Got that. But that's one thing. Let the guy retire and go to his farm. You know, he just wants to sit on his farm in Tuscany and, you know, tend to his chickens. Just let the guy retire. You know, it was bad enough when the Italian national team pulled him out of retirement. It's like, come on, you can do a job for us. Now Juventus are doing it, you know. They're trying to just tempt him, not too far from Tuscany, but just a little bit too far. It's infuriating. And the thing with Juventus is they do lack a clear identity. Again, I'm not even sure under the Agnelli reign they knew where they were going, just trying to make sure that they balance the books. And if on a good year, they could make a bit of money. Even since Agnelli's left in 2023, it's still run like let me swear, like a shit show. It's run like an absolute shit show. You know, I talked about Comoli, who was brought in before, but it was Guintoli, who was there before, who no one really knows what he did. But Comoli he's not had a job in football before from what I could find, but he runs one of Agnelli's businesses. And it's like, it's still rotten from inside, and Juventus will still go throughout this rot of not getting Champions League football, or maybe just getting 4th one season. If they don't have a proper structure in place, starting from the top, it's all well and good bringing in a great mind like Motta, which I think was a good move for them.
I think that's a shame that didn't work out.
Yeah, I think it is a shame. And we're just going to keep seeing them recycling managers. Maybe Andrea Pirlo was actually a good manager we don't know.
Yeah, because I remember at the time years ago when we did watch-alongs for Serie A, me and Seb were a bit uneasy about Pirlo being the manager there, and that was a period where a lot of former players were going back to their clubs as managers, and it felt like it was a bit of a trend, and it was like
It was a trend
Juve's
like the
take.
Lampard trend and the
Yeah,
Solskjaer
and
trend.
Solskjaer,
Yeah.
yeah. It really
Yeah.
felt like Juve doing that with Pirlo. And it just, again, I'm always a bit skeptical about these new coaches, which I love to see, but I just feel like with Pirlo, it's like go somewhere else first, but
I
don't
mean,
go straight in, it's,
yeah, Perlo's kind of wrecked himself there because then he went to manage in Turkey, and I can't even pronounce the name. Karagümrük is where he took charge in Turkey after Juventus, and then he took over Sampdoria and tried to get them promoted. Unsuccessful in that,
yeah,
but
Sampdoria
yeah,
have had
and
some
now
problems,
he's
haven't they?
and now he's managing United FC in the UAE. So that's a bit of a side note. But there's also a thing about Juventus is they still haven't, and I know that people talk about this way too often. They still haven't recovered from the Ronaldo transfer. They
Yeah.
never had the means for that. They never could buy Ronaldo, and they went for him. And yes, maybe they helped Juventus win the title, but that was the 9-year period where only Juventus won the title.
Yeah.
It didn't bring much more. It didn't bring in much more revenue. It drained their
Well, yeah.
resources, and they're still
Champions League did nothing,
There's still an open court case about remaining wages for Ronaldo. So get this shit solved before you start throwing around managers, because this is completely abnormal for Juventus to be changing mid-season. Not only changing mid-season, but changing in October. So
And let's not forget, you mentioned, the financial side of it as well. Vlahovic is going to go for a free next summer.
that's another thing, yeah.
25-year-old, who's one of the best. I don't know. I think he's a quality striker, but
I
the
do
fact
think
that
there's
he's
still
going to go,
quality there, yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think he's going to be a great addition to whoever buys him. Well, I say buy, they'll get him for free. But it's just the fact that, like, I think Juventus really do need it's easy for me to say this, but have a huge reset button and just remind yourselves who were we before? What do we need to do to get back there? And maybe we just need to be a club that's a bit under the radar for the next few years. And some of these appointments are so, like, they've clearly thought about this for 5 minutes and nothing more. And getting Spalletti in, it's so easy for the fans to go, oh, wow, Spalletti. But it's like, yeah, but let's be honest, he's not going to be here for the next 5 years and fix everything, is he?
But this is where the sporting director and the manager have to be on the same page. So
Yeah.
I do think in the past they have had some really clever transfers. When they brought in Kostic, I thought this is a great signing. For a free, I think it was in the day. But was that the time when it was Pirlo was manager, or
No, yeah, no, it
Allegri
wasn't,
again? But it's like
no, it was Allegri. No, you're right, it was Allegri,
but
yeah.
doesn't want this player. I even think bringing in the likes of. Oh, well, Bremer has to been a success, but keeps getting injured. But there have been really good signings there, just not at the right time and
Just
not
not
for the right
Weston
manager.
McKennie.
He's doing the job, and he's done the job for the past 5 seasons at Juventus. Come in, plugged in some holes,
Weston
and that's
McKennie
been
clearly
okay.
sent him a few notes this way. That's all I'm
And
saying.
they've got the young Turkish guy Yildiz, who is absolutely
Yildiz is
phenomenal.
great, yeah.
He will go for a massive fee next summer. They've still got Artemelo on the books as well. Let's not
Yeah,
forget.
And also, that's
Just,
and
Don't
it's
mention
just,
that name to
like
me.
a shit
well,
show.
I
Don't mention that
think
name to me.
I think I think it's a real shame about Colin Morani leaving as well. To be honest, I'm a big fan of Colin Morani.
Well, he was on loan, so it's
still, but okay, performance-wise, they need him at the moment, don't they? But
yeah.
I mean, Jonathan David for a free, I think, is a great piece of business.
I'm
but
I'm not convinced by Jonathan David in the slightest.
he
I
hasn't
think I
settled, has
said
he?
this it was either a few years ago he had to make that move, but he still looks like a 25-year-old who needs the pat on the head. Like, come on, you can do this,
Yeah.
Jonathan. But it's,
Yeah.
in essence, he's an adult now. He has to try and compose himself like that on the pitch. And sorry, who was the one who came? Timothy Weah as well, who came last summer or 2 summers ago. It's similar,
we forget
desperately
he's
wants to
there.
prove something. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they keep buying these players from Lille, and they don't really work out. Like Zegrova, I'm not.
Didn't they
a big
sign
fan of his
Buchanan
either.
as well? Buchanan,
sorry?
no, Buchanan. Sorry, didn't they sign Buchanan, the Canadian
was-
international,
no.
not long ago either?
No, that was Inter, wasn't it?
It was Inter. Sorry, yes.
Yeah, and he's gone now to Villarreal.
Okay. I didn't know he
Cannon, I
left.
think. Yes, he's gone to Villarreal now, but I
Yeah.
think that's
He was
that
never
was a
playing
transfer.
for-
So yeah,
He was never playing for Inter, was he? But
yeah, he never was going to. But I think there's potential there in Juventus. They're still a big team.
Yeah.
but it
Jonathan
There's a
has
lot
to
of
Davies.
be.
personas, a lot of personas to deal with there.
Yeah.
With Jonathan Davies, he strikes me as a massive Dortmund player, and I don't know why. I feel like he's the sort of
Yeah,
player that would do really well there. In the
yeah.
Bundesliga or something. I think he could do a good job there in the likes of Dortmund or
Maybe.
Leipzig.
I
But I
think it's
think
one of those where Dortmund would make the risk, and it's a
mhm.
bargain. They love a bargain.
I also think, if I'm not mistaken, Juventus is the only team in Serie A who own their own stadium. There's potential there to dominate the league again, and again, it's just like the structure needs to be there. The whole
Yeah,
sporting director down to the manager, and it's not replacing Tudor with an interim Spalletti, and then when he's done at the end of the season, hiring on a permanent deal, then sacking him at the beginning of next season. The cycle continues, and the cycle's
yeah,
been like that ever since Juventus failed to win the title
yeah.
the first time after that 9-year break. It was Conte who broke that cycle for Juventus, ironically enough. And do you
Yeah.
guys remember who the last manager was to win the Scudetto with Juventus?
No, oh, go on. Oh, it was Allegri, wasn't it?
No, 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 no,
No.
no, no,
Oh,
no.
No, I can't think.
It was Maurizio Sarri.
oh, of
Ah,
course. Yeah, forgot. Completely
Yep.
forgot.
yeah.
And also, what's ironic
Was that
enough as well,
2019?
yeah,
No, or
2019,
2020, something like
1920
that.
or
Yeah.
something. And Sarri's the one who got $2 sacked the other night against Lazio, and Lazio has just stagnated for the past 2 seasons under Sarri.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's been,
Madness.
yeah.
So,
How about
what comes around.
that? Yeah. I mean, look at Allegri as well at AC Milan. He's doing a good job there. It's funny, all these managers going to and from all to I mean, they don't have loyalty with these clubs. That's what I love about it. But yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, Serie A is like that. There's a complete juggle of all these managers. Conte's managed Juventus, Inter, and now he's at Napoli. This is Italian football. This is
yeah,
how it happens.
yeah,
Spalletti's managed Napoli, Inter, now Juventus, and there's
yeah.
Roma as well. Sarri has managed Napoli, Juventus, and is at Lazio at the moment. Spalletti, sorry, not Spalletti. Gasparini is at Roma. He's managed Inter. He's managed Atalanta. Italian coaches, they juggle
But
around a little
bearing
bit.
in mind, he's doing a good job at Roma, Gasparini this
Well, they were
season.
top
Yeah,
until
last
this
night
weekend.
was it? Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, well, Napoli played on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, and they went top.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and then last night that AC Milan beat Roma. So yeah,
Mm.
there's
It's a good
potential
league
there.
at the moment. It's a good league to watch at the moment.
It's competitive in that sense, but the
The
problem is
quality is not great.
there's no goals. There's
No.
absolutely no goals. It's Chanaloglu, the top scorer at the moment with 5 goals, and it's just like
That says it all, doesn't it?
you need some goals in that league.
Yeah, where's Thuram when we need him? Me and Seb knew him before he was successful at Mönchengladbach. What's going on?
Yeah.
Talk about Mönchengladbach. Well, that's another story, isn't it?
Well, it's
Yeah.
fair to say they're not back. They're going back down to Bundesliga 2.
No. I was
Real
thinking
shame.
about, you talk about teams going down, and I was thinking about the financial situation at Juventus. They're surely not in the any risk of points
Nah.
deductions, are they? That send it to Serie B for the first time since the Calciopoli scandal.
Oh yeah.
No, there aren't any current investigations to my knowledge. That is, at least.
No. We'd know, wouldn't we, if there was, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's. I think they're in the clear, but they could quickly fall off a cliff because there are still some financial irregularities that
And
they're
I don't
clearly
trust those
practicing.
people. Yeah.
I think
No.
there's a transfer this summer that they made. They bought a player from Porto for 15 million euros and sold the player to Porto for 15 million euros the same day. You can tell they're trying to still balance the books, but there's no risk of point deductions at the moment.
No.
When you talk about the next managers as well, obviously Spalletti's in at the moment. I'm just having a look online, and other candidates that have been linked with the position permanently are Rafael Palladino, Roberto Mancini, Zinedine Zidane. So yeah,
So Zidane's an interesting one, but I don't see it happening.
no,
Now, Palladino, I really like. I'm a big fan of Palladino. He just left Fiorentina. He also made Monza a really competitive team in the league. I think he's a great manager, but it's still a short managerial career that he's had at the moment. If I were Juventus, and I know this is going to sound maybe a bit not controversial, I don't think it's controversial, but I think you go for Vincenzo Italiano because he will get them to winning trophies, the current Bologna manager. And Italiano has also proven that he can get teams competitive in cup matches. So Bologna just won the Coppa Italia last year. Bologna also were in and about the Champions League spots, and they are now. Italiano is an incredible manager, in my opinion, who was also the former Fiorentina manager. And I think if Juventus actually want to get on the right track of progressing, you start with that. You don't go for the Zidane yet. You don't go for that. And the Paladinos, I just think he's too inexperienced at the moment. I do like him, but he did subsequently get sacked by Fiorentina.
Yeah, I agree with Seb. It's like what I said before. I think Juve need to take a step back. And I think if that means getting someone in who's clearly progressing nicely and naturally becoming quite a coach in Italy, then that's the perfect time to do it.
If you can get Spalletti on a permanent basis and the structure's all made around him for next season, Juventus are contenders.
Yeah, but I'm also worried about those chickens. Yeah, but I'm worried about those chickens. They need to get fed. And, Spalletti must go back home.
And not only that, the Juventus fans will finally get the brand of football they've been craving and crying out for. There was a lot of criticism to even Pirlo's football. I mean, Pirlo's was boring, but Pirlo, Allegri, just slow, monotonous. Even Giacomo, it looked really flat. So there's one thing you get with Spalletti, and that is it's full throttle.
Where is Motta?
Well, Motta's currently not working.
Oh,
He's still under
no. Right now, is he at a bar? Is he on holiday?
Who knows?
He's at Molyneux.
Oh, good God!
That's probably. Actually, I wouldn't know if that's a lesser wage. Surely, I'd have thought. I don't know.
Let's start a rumor. Motta to Wolves.
No, actually, I'm gonna throw this out there because Genoa have just sacked Patrick Vieira as their manager.
Yeah,
and Genoa is where he had his first managerial stint. So who knows? Bottom of the table, Genoa. I think they're still bottom, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not below Fiorentina. Yeah. Maybe Genoa come in for Motta and he tries to revive that career of his.
Who knows?
Also, Verona and Fiorentina are 19th and 20th now. So
yeah.
Also, Genoa must have won tonight. Yep, they won tonight against Sassuolo. Okay, didn't follow that one.
Milan won, didn't they, over Roma over the weekend as well?
Last night,
yeah, which it's making the title race very heated now and interesting.
Yeah, that and the Dutch league right now is very interesting to watch.
Go on, Jamie. I haven't followed.
Yeah.
Well, PSV and Feyenoord are joint top on 28, so it's a good one. It's a good one. PSV beat Feyenoord away from home last weekend or the weekend before. I can't remember, but yeah, it's. I'm enjoying Eredivisie and Serie A this season.
Both have got Champions League action coming up as well.
Yes, and I have been saying this in the last year or two. Serie A, I'm more excited about the league there than I'm with the Premier League, just because it's so competitive. Well, competitive in terms of you just don't know who's going to win it. You really don't know who's going to win the league. And with Napoli winning it last season with a different manager and getting Scott McTominay and stuff like that, I just love stories like that. It's been great.
It's the fear that, Conte could try and run away with this again. It looks like he's already given up on I'm exaggerating, but it looks like he's already given up on the Champions League with that heavy defeat to PSV.
Yeah, that was insane. That was a great game to watch as well, I must admit.
That's
every time I left the room there was a goal.
Isn't that just Conte in Europe, That's
Yeah.
But no, they'll make it through to the next round, but they won't go far in Europe, especially with that team.
Yeah. There's not much depth either for me.
No.
One thing that did just spring to my mind, my biggest mistake from Juventus, I think, that they made for years is getting rid of Federico Chiesa.
No, I disagree. It was definitely time to move on from Chiesa. Chiesa was struggling massively to regain fitness, and he definitely was important to Juventus at a time. There's no question about it. But I think it was also
you want
time
to move
to change.
Forward.
Yeah, I think the injury really took its toll on him because he just couldn't get back to the same. Actually, I say that. He got 9 goals in his last season for Juventus, so it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. Those are good stats. But it was probably the time to move on and find something new.
I think I think Liverpool bringing him in was brave, but I always said in our group chat that you can't go wrong with no, it wasn't a free transfer, was it?
13 million euros.
All right, fine. But I think that is worth the risk. And I think, he's what I've always liked about him was what he did at the Euros with Italy, for example, and just show that even if it's just 10 minutes of a game, you just never know what he might just do to get you the win.
Mm-hmm. He's got character for sure. That's one thing.
I don't think he's a bad player to have on the changing room.
No, but it's a typical Liverpool transfer where they buy another injury-prone player.
Yeah, Thiago.
Yeah.
Well, Thiago, no, but it's not just Thiago. They bought Kanate, and Kanate has actually proven to be okay, fitness-wise. Keita, they've done this in the past ample times where they buy injury-prone players. It's not new.
Absolutely.
So I've got two final questions on this topic for about Juventus. Uh, how long before they're competing for the titles again? As in, obviously, they'll. You said that the main focus should be winning trophies, but I mean, as in Scudetto titles. There's this question: how long do you think that'll be? And the second question is, who's winning the title this season in Syria?
I think Seb pretty much said it, didn't he, about Spalletti? If maybe they
It
actually keep
depends on
hold of him.
if they bring in Spalletti. If they keep Spalletti for another season, and they might not even have to have the proper transfer season. It can be as much as like in 18 months' time. We're talking about Juventus maybe winning the Scudetto. If they don't bring in Spalletti and they bring in the guy that I like, Vincenzo Italiano, he will get them competing for top four regularly. But I'm not sure he's the guy who brings you to title-winning team.
Yeah.
I hope he is, because he's still got. I still think he's got more to offer, but I'm not sure he can get there. If it's Spalletti at the end of the year, it's extended. I think next season they're competing. And who's winning this season? It's hard to say, because you want to. In my opinion, it's just basically who can start banging in the goals, and the obvious
this
answer
funny
would be,
feeling Inter might.
That's what I was about to say. It's like that. It feels like it's Inter, but I just guess that when Napoli start hitting form, they've still got. I know that Lukaku is mocked constantly, but as soon as he's back, it makes a big difference. And I don't know how long he's out for, which is something I should probably check.
Until January, I think.
Yeah, but then I still think Conte can get something out of Lorenzo Luca. I still think that, they've still got Politano, even if, has his fair share of criticism. They've got Højlund as well, which I think Conte can get the best out of.
And he's had a good start to the season.
And Noah Lang as well. They've got options, but as soon as they start scoring, I think Napoli start creating a healthy margin. And I don't think as soon as Conte teams get away from you in the league, there's no catching them.
No. I'm quite impressed by Kivu so far at Inter. When the Club World Cup had finished, and Inter obviously didn't end very well in that tournament. I know Club World Cup doesn't matter to many, but I was a little concerned that maybe Kivu's coming in when this is going to be a bigger challenge than expected. Mm-hmm. But I think he's done all right so far. I think he's got the ship settling pretty well at the moment, and then some of the players are playing like they did under Inzaghi. I just feel like they are missing some spark. And as you said, Seb, about Chanal, I can never pronounce his name. Chanaloglu. Yeah, the fact that that's your top scorer is a little concerning.
I not only that, I think Kivu is putting Kivu to the side. I think Inzaghi has shown in the past he can leave a team set up for victory afterwards.
Yeah.
At Lazio, I think they were very well placed when Sarri came in and had a very set team. Same for Inter now. As much as he might get criticism for that final, I still think that Inzaghi sets up a team well. I'm not sure about Kivu yet. I think they leak in too many goals, and I think that also could be brought back to maybe Jan Sommer. I think back to that Napoli game where he shouldn't. Yeah, I think back to that. I was like, he should be saving some of those, and makes no saves at all. But then he's doing currently what Onana's doing in Turkey, where he has a game where he saves everything, then he has a game where he saves nothing. And I don't know if you can win a title with a goalkeeper who's doing that at the moment, or a defense that's not as solid as Inzaghi left them. So I still think it's Napoli's to lose.
I always say, I know we're probably going over the top or overboard with this debate, and you can save it for another day, but I still always felt bad with how Inzaghi ended it into with that final, where I know a lot of people could talk about and said, oh, it was terrible, Inter were rubbish. But I'm like, I think it was just a one-off. It was just a crazy game of football where PSG whatever medicine they had before the game, it bloody worked. And let's not forget the pace that PSG did under Enrique last season was just unreal. So it was always going to be difficult. I did feel for Inter that night. They didn't deserve to lose like that in my eyes. Yeah,
and it's completely tarnished a reputation of a manager that I thought was one of the greatest in the 2020 period in Italy. I think he's definitely he's one of the best that we've had since 2020 in Italy.
I completely agree, and I think it's a shame he's gone to Saudi or wherever he's gone. I'd have loved
Yeah,
to
he's
have
gone to
seen him.
Saudi to Al Ali. Oh no, it's
Yeah, yeah. No, you're right. 'Cause he would play against Inter in his first match at the Club World Cup. I remember. So yeah, it
no, it
was
wasn't
quite.
Al Ali. There's another name for it.
Or is it
I
Al
get confused.
Ittihad? Al Ittihad.
No,
Oh, I get
Etihad is
mixed up with
the
them.
wrong one.
It's Ali
Yeah,
Solfin, not Ali McCoist, but Ali Solfin. But
Ali
yeah,
something.
Ali Solfin. We'll go with that.
Al
It's
Hilal.
always Ali
Al
Al
something,
Hilal.
isn't it?
Al Hilal's the one in blue. That's all I know.
Yeah, I was trying to remember
Neymar.
it. That's my
Neymar,
ignorance.
isn't it?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
he
Well,
Well, he
left.
he's
went
not
there
there
to get
anymore.
he went there to get the money and then pissed off.
He played
But
Back to
3
Santos.
matches.
yeah, he played 3 matches and made a fortune. But yeah,
Ridiculous.
in terms of, but yeah, I'd love to have seen Inzaghi stay in Europe and see where else he could have gone. And I hope he comes back and actually does take the job seriously. I'm not saying he doesn't in Saudi, but let's be honest,
Well,
you
maybe
know.
Juventus might bring in Inzaghi.
Oh, yep. You heard it here
There's,
first.
I don't think. Yeah,
Oh,
It's
exactly.
not
I
a
don't
bad
think that's
shout.
beyond the realms of possibility. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Who knows? And I think as well, like when you look at the fact that you mentioned Jan Sommer as well. I mean, yeah, I watched that Napoli Inter game last weekend or the weekend before, and a bit of me was thinking, Sommer, you've been great. You have been great at Inter, but I think the decline is starting.
He's starting
Um,
to look like Summer at Bayern Munich.
yeah, yeah, which I do forget about, but yeah, I think they may need a new goalkeeper. The
might
Juve goalkeeper ain't bad. I wouldn't say no to him if they could get him.
I still don't think the Gregor wins you a Scudetto.
No, I think he's more
He's
safe.
he's a
He's safe though.
solid Serie A goalkeeper, but
Yeah,
I wouldn't bag on him helping you win a title.
no.
bag on him winning the title. So I think that's the best place to leave it there for this week, lads. Thanks for joining us, Jamie and Seb. Don't forget
Thanks for
to
having me.
don't forget to like this video, comment below, subscribe to Let's Talk Sport for more content. We've got a few videos on the way. Is there anything that you've got planned this week, lads?
Um, Telford United tomorrow night for football down the road. But yeah, really great, top league football. No, no, National League North match it will be. So yeah.
Again, National League North. So thanks for watching tonight. Thanks for Jamie and Seb for joining us. And keep tuned for more editions of Let's Talk Football here on Let's Talk Sport. Thanks for watching.